And so today's decision, if anything, is LeBron James making it clear that he wants to go play his 24th and potentially 25th season in Philadelphia because he believes the Sixers have a better chance to win a championship. My phone is blowing up with people stunned about this decision for LeBron James because you look at that starting five, it's going to be as formidable, if not the most formidable five in the end.
The decision is finally official. LeBron James is now a Philadelphia 76er, and the NBA may have just witnessed one of the biggest moves of his career. This isn't simply another chapter for LeBron, it could completely reshape the power structure of the Eastern Conference. For years, fans have wondered where LeBron would finish his career, and almost nobody expected Philadelphia to become his next destination. But now that he's wearing a Sixers jersey, everything changes. Philadelphia has instantly become one of the biggest stories in basketball, while every Eastern Conference contender now has to figure out how to deal with a roster led by LeBron James. The real question isn't whether the Sixers are dangerous, it's whether they have enough talent, depth, and chemistry to turn LeBron's arrival into another championship run. Because when you add LeBron to an already talented roster, expectations don't just rise, they explode. The Eastern Conference has become a completely different battlefield, and every team chasing the finals now has to find a way to get through Philadelphia. LeBron chose the Sixers, the pressure is on, and if everything comes together, the NBA could be looking at a brand new powerhouse in the East.
Him to choose the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a shock among shocks.
This is where the story gets really interesting, because LeBron James joining Philadelphia makes far more sense than it initially appears, and there's one major problem that could still destroy the entire plan, and surprisingly, it has nothing to do with LeBron's age. The real story is why LeBron chose Philly, how the deal came together, and whether all these pieces can actually fit into a championship-level roster. Before LeBron arrived, the Sixers were already searching for answers after their season ended with a second-round sweep at the hands of the Knicks, making the loss even more painful on their home floor. With Joel Embiid and Paul George locked into massive contracts, Philadelphia appeared trapped in a difficult cycle, constantly hoping its stars would stay healthy before another disappointing playoff exit. Then the franchise made a massive change. Philadelphia moved Paul George and brought in Jaylen Brown, immediately raising the team's ceiling and giving the roster another elite offensive weapon. But then came the move that nobody saw coming. LeBron James chose the Sixers. The all-time leading scorer, four-time champion, 22-time All-Star, and 20-time All-NBA selection reportedly agreed to a 2-year, $8 million contract, choosing to leave significant money on the table in exchange for what he believes could be one of his final legitimate opportunities to compete for another championship. The decision also officially ended LeBron's legendary run with the Lakers, a chapter that included the 2020 championship, a Western Conference Finals appearance, and the unforgettable moment when he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the NBA's all-time leading scorer. And even as he enters his 24th NBA season, LeBron continues to produce at a level that would be remarkable for any player, averaging 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds last season while shooting 51.5% from the field and extending his incredible streak of scoring at least 20 points per game in every season of his career. But LeBron's decision wasn't simply about the city, the money, or collecting the biggest names possible. His thinking was reportedly much simpler. Where can I realistically win another championship? His answer was Philadelphia. And at this stage of his career, that may be exactly what LeBron values most, a genuine opportunity to compete for another ring. The timing makes the entire situation even more fascinating because Philadelphia completely changed the direction of the franchise in just a few months. Instead of remaining stuck with the same formula, the Sixers added depth, shooting, athleticism, defense, and star power, eventually creating the kind of roster that could actually attract a player like LeBron. The strategy was straightforward. Stay patient, make smart moves, create flexibility, and wait for the right opportunity. Once LeBron became available, Philadelphia was ready to make its pitch, and that pitch was simple. We can give you a legitimate chance to win championship number 5. Apparently, that was enough for LeBron to accept a 2-year, $8 million deal with a player option for the second season and prioritize the championship chase over maximizing his final contract. On paper, it's easy to see why Philadelphia became so attractive. A potential core featuring Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, and LeBron James could become one of the most dangerous offensive groups in the NBA. Every player brings a different skill set, and perhaps most importantly, the Sixers would no longer have to rely entirely on Embiid carrying the team every night. Philadelphia had already started building the roster piece by piece, adding defensive-minded players and reliable role players before making the blockbuster move for Brown. Then they added even more offensive firepower with Anthony Simons and brought in KCP on a 1-year, $3.9 million deal, giving them another veteran who can contribute perimeter shooting and defense. Those moves may not generate the same headlines as LeBron and Brown, but they could ultimately be just as important when the playoffs arrive. Because there's a massive difference between having superstar talent and having a roster deep enough to survive 4 brutal playoff rounds. And that may be the biggest difference between this version of the Sixers and the team that failed before. They're no longer asking 1 or 2 stars to fix every problem. They're building an entire ecosystem around their stars, and now LeBron James is stepping right into the middle of it. KCP brings something Philadelphia desperately needs: championship experience. He already won a title alongside LeBron in the 2020 bubble, making him the kind of reliable 3-and-D veteran Nick Nurse can plug into almost any lineup. And even before LeBron arrived, the Sixers were already beginning to look like one of the more dangerous teams in the Eastern Conference. But the front office wasn't done building. Reports indicate that Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown all played a role in recruiting LeBron during free agency, with Embiid even making a commitment to return in the best shape of his career. Once the Brown trade became official, Philadelphia reportedly reached out to LeBron's camp, believing the roster had finally reached the level needed to make a serious championship pitch, and it worked. For Philadelphia, a signing of this magnitude means more than basketball. Years from now, fans could remember exactly where they were when LeBron James became a Sixer. The franchise has experienced legendary moments before, from the 1983 championship team led by Julius Erving, Moses Malone, and Maurice Cheeks to Allen Iverson's unforgettable 2001 finals run. The 2019 squad was also one of the most talented teams of the Embiid era, but the 2026-27 Sixers now have an opportunity to create a completely new chapter. And what LeBron gives Embiid isn't simply another superstar, it gives him something even more valuable: breathing room. Philadelphia no longer has to depend on Embiid carrying an enormous workload every single night just to stay competitive. With LeBron, the Sixers become deeper, more versatile, and much harder for opponents to predict. Better yet, they don't need a 41-year-old LeBron playing heavy minutes across all 82 regular season games. Maxey, Brown, Edgecombe, and Simons can carry stretches of the offense, allowing Philadelphia to carefully manage LeBron's workload and preserve him for the postseason. But perhaps the biggest impact LeBron can make is as the team's primary playmaker. Philadelphia struggled to consistently create quality offense last season, and that is an area where LeBron can completely transform the team. Throughout his career, he has been one of basketball's most dangerous offensive engines, capable of reading and manipulating defenses in ways very few players in NBA history can match. Maxey becomes even more dangerous when he can focus on attacking the basket and scoring instead of being forced to create every possession. Brown, Embiid, and Edgecombe can all make plays, but none of them demands the same level of defensive attention as LeBron. Surround him with shooters and athletic finishers, and suddenly opportunities open up everywhere. Maxey gets cleaner driving lanes, Brown gets easier scoring chances, Embiid sees fewer aggressive double teams, and the entire offense has the potential to become more efficient. Of course, making all of this work won't be easy. Maxey, Brown, Embiid, and LeBron have all spent much of their careers being major offensive focal points, which means Nick Nurse will have some difficult decisions regarding touches, rotations, and roles. Someone will have to sacrifice opportunities, but if there is one superstar who has repeatedly proven he can adjust his game for the sake of winning, it's LeBron. His basketball IQ and ability to evolve have allowed him to remain effective through multiple generations of the NBA. The real test, however, won't come in November or December. It will come in April, May, and potentially June, when the pressure becomes enormous and every possession matters.